Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I'm fine. I'm well. It's good to see you people joining. I want us to go to our session of study for today. Thank you, Maneja. Thank you, Agnes. Thank you, Lillian. Simon Boni is joining. We can quickly review what we did last time. We've done on the job training and off the job training. Who could have a question on what we did last time? A question or comment on what we did last time? Any example of the job training, Agnes? Examples of the job training? Lectures and conferences, that's right. Somebody else? Examples of the job training, if you remember, that is the question. Examples of the job training. Methods. Momboni, did you get the question? Simulation, okay. Case study, thank you, Agnes. In basket method, good. That's fine. There is vestibule training and very many others. So good to see that we remember them very well. Please find more time, review them, and if there's any challenge, feel free to let me know so that I can assist. We are in topic 6 and not topic 9 as it's indicated in the notes I posted, so don't be worried. Training evaluation. If there's no question on what we did last time, anyone has a question or comment on what we did last time? It seems there's no question or comment. Then let's start together. In training evaluation, we have a very critical area. Remember, we are doing the last stage or last step in training process. We started with the first step. What was the first step of the methods? Monira, which one was the first step? Lilian, which one was the second? Agnes, which was the third one? If you remember. Or the first one. Who remembers the first one? First step was training process. Which was the first step or steps involved in training? The first one. Yes, identifying training needs, or you do what you call training needs analysis. The second one, establish specific objectives, right? So because of the need analysis, it will be easy for you to identify the objectives, and it's always important that whatever you want to do in life, you must have objectives. So that is very important. After that, please review that. Review that. Review that as I move to today's session. You select the appropriate method. After selecting appropriate method, you after selecting appropriate method, Taslim, you welcome Taslim. After selecting appropriate methods, you implement a program or train. In other words, train. I don't know what others were absent from this session. Lillian Momboni, I repeated the question. Taslim, we're looking at the training process. And we have implemented the training, or we have trained. What happens after that? After that, what happens? Ama watu hawajaamka hapa. Agnes, have you gone back to sleep? Evaluate the program. Thank you. So that is what we are doing. You evaluate the program. You identify the training needs, or do training needs analysis, establish specific objectives, select appropriate method, then implement the program, which is the same as training. Then after that, you evaluate the program. Oh, it's okay, Agnes. I hope you will connect and you follow. Sometimes the challenge with internet, I'm aware it's always sometimes a challenge. Then feedback, though sometimes feedback, even if you ignore it and just remain with evaluating the program, is fine, but feedback also is important, because you can evaluate and fail to give feedback, though sometimes it's perceived that when you do the evaluation, you also give feedback at the same time. Okay. So that is it. That's why we are now on the evaluating the training program. That's where now we are. We are evaluating training program. And just to lay the background, let me take you through this, then I lay the background. Training should be effective, simple. Every training that you conduct should be effective. And an effective training is defined as one that is able to give successful fulfillment to the training objectives. Remember, after doing the training needs analysis, you set objectives. And that's why here we say that for a training to be effective, it must be one that is successful in terms of fulfilling the set training objectives. So every organization must have objectives when they want to train, and it is through these objectives that you do an evaluation. Through the objectives, you do or carry out an evaluation. Each training should be evaluated in terms of its objectives. And the objectives or the evaluation provides feedback, and you can now see what feedback is. Feedback for the improvement in training methods, the materials that were used, the process in future, because you'll have a future training. And training evaluation now is the examination of effectiveness of how effectively the skills are transferred. I have the skills, so I'm transferring them to the next person, whether the training objectives were relevant, whether the training methods that were used were appropriate. Remember, there's on the job and off the job, and on the job, you have the methods that could be chosen because we can't use all the methods. You check out whether the training materials were supportive, whether the trainees were motivated to learn, and whether training was conducted within the set budget. You can see how training evaluation is very heavy. The process of examining whether the training offered to the employees was fruitful or not, and it estimates to what extent the training program succeeded to achieve the predetermined training objectives. Looking at training, it's important to understand that the method used for lectures was assessed some time ago through CAT and feedback, or I did the evaluation and feedback given, which I hope everyone got the feedback on the CATs that you did. So you will know how you performed, and from there you can find out where the issue was so that you are sorted out. An evaluation is very important. It is the case where you find out whether the materials used were relevant, the methods were okay, the trainees were motivated to learn. So I will know that these people are motivated to learn. If I look at the CAP that we did, and even the end of term exams, semester exams we did as we were evaluating you, some of us were in a hurry. Some of us were tensed. Tensed because it was the first time they are doing this kind of exam. So there was a lot of tension from what I saw. Yet we even gave a sample exam that most of us did, if not all. So we are learning from the process. There are those who did section A in 20 minutes, they were done. There are those who did section B in 20 minutes. And I was wondering what you are doing with the remaining time. Yet when you go into the marking, you did section A in 20 minutes and you didn't get everything. I'm giving feedback. I'm done the evaluation. I saw some could not even explain when they are told to explain. They were just throwing points. Explain this, this, and that. Then someone just says, costly, full stop. Some even says costly, 1 point. The next point, expensive. And they're done, 20 minutes, a record 20 minutes. Then that is done. So looking at that, then it means we are challenged, and that's why the evaluation is very appropriate or very critical for us. I'm giving this so that it helps us out so that in future, where we can improve on, we do improve. And there's always room for improvement. I'm always told that is the biggest room that we have, the room for improvement. So I hope that will be taken into consideration. So that is the evaluation. Anyone who has seen the feedback of the evaluation I did, don't check now. Anyone who has seen the feedback from your papers? Anyone who has not seen? Do I have my students with me or I'm alone? Thank you, Taslim. You haven't seen. Catherine, how are you? Munira hasn't. Who has seen? Catherine, have you seen the feedback? Lillian hasn't seen it. Mamboni, no. Who is remaining? You mean people have not checked your feedback? Catherine, have you seen the feedback? So no one has seen for all those I have here except Catherine, who is yet to confirm. You can check and let me know if you see them later after this session. But that's the value or the importance of having training evaluation. And by the way, most of the times when that feedback is not given, then there will always be a problem, and that's where you find a lot of questions. I don't know, I've not seen my feedback. I have not gotten my CAT feedback. What did I get? It normally provides an opportunity for review or for feedback so that you can improve for future. And that is exactly what I mentioned, that the evaluation helps in improvements. So you can improve because that is always critical. So I confirmed no one who is present here has seen the feedback. You please check. There could be a challenge. I may, all right, from my side I gave, but it seems there's a problem. But I'm just wondering because I expected you to tell me that section A you saw the feedback for the CAT, for the sake of the CAT. Section A, I believe you saw the feedback because immediately after finishing you could see. The main one now you couldn't see it. I'm supposing so. I expected to say you saw half of it. Like one section was available, the other section wasn't available. But from the look of things, even section A was not available. Um, we can work on that later. But that is the critical aspect of feedback or training evaluation. So that's done. We will review it and see where there is need to be improved, where the challenges were, and those challenges can be tackled so that everything move smooth or move in the right way. And at the end of it all, we expect to get the best from it. And that's when it is effective, because the effectiveness we've mentioned there is only possible if there is a review. So that is fine. And moving forward, I've mentioned that for evaluating the training programs, we need to document all the outputs of training programs systematically and scientifically. Job behaviors of employees after training should be observed and evaluated. And you'll see as you move down the line how this is done. Productivity and organizational effectiveness should be examined. These are the ways through which we do the evaluation. and effectiveness of training should therefore be evaluated in terms of organizational efficiency, productivity, and effectiveness. While evaluating the training effectiveness, there are factors you need to consider, where we have the criteria for evaluating training effectiveness, the process of evaluating training effectiveness, right, and the methods of evaluating training effectiveness. For the criteria, you look at these, and I'm going to summarize them as we move on. Reaction criteria. Reaction criteria. In the reaction criteria, we will have to ensure that the trainees are assessed based on their response. How do they respond? The response of the individuals who are going through training, and we call them trainees, is critical, because from there we can determine whether it was fine. Even as you take someone through an area, you would easily tell from the face. You would see someone say, "Oh, that was wonderful." You'd see someone maybe just smiling or is frowning. You can tell this thing is not sinking. If it was you are struggling with it, and then you get to the point it's moving, you are like, "Oh, that's not fine." I remember sometimes when I had a challenge with a question in mathematics, and I take to my teacher, I tell him, "Olimu, this question is difficult. I don't understand it. Yet you took us through some 1 hour ago. I don't understand. I'm lost." And then he takes me through it. By the time he sees me smiling, it stops. He could stop because he knows that now I am on track. He stops, and then I also leave and say, "Leave it there." That means where I was lost, I have now been found, or I have now found myself or my track. Then I can move forward. That is the reaction. So you need to see how someone reacts. That reaction alone is very important. Sometimes you could even give the questionnaire to fill so that you know how they feel. It helps even to improve the next training. Then there's learning. The change in knowledge and skills is a very critical area of measuring employee performance. Did the person learn? Because learning is very critical. Did I learn, or did the person learn in the process? So learning means that I have gained some knowledge, I have improved in terms of my training, I am effective, and you can tell. The attitude of an individual, it matters. Now, when you're looking at the learning, if I had got a challenge in handling maybe the computer, and then after that you see me now juggling through, I can move around, then it's fine. Just like some of us were struggling to get to the portal alone, and at the end of it, you realize later they are okay, they are fine. So that is very important. The learning criteria. Did someone learn? Next is the behavior. How does the person behave? So there are times you'd find someone has got a certain behavior towards the job. Maybe they have a negative approach. They hate going to work early. They fear a supervisor or the CEO. They poorly interact with one another. They don't follow the procedures. But after training, you can measure. Do they still behave the same way, or has the behavior changed? We expect that behavior changes for the good of others and for the good of the organization. So when positive behavior is exhibited um, in a person or an individual, then it means that training was effective. Apart from that third one, we also have the fourth one, which is output criteria. We have output criteria. Now, this is all about and this is very critical. This is all about the productivity level, the profitability, the turnover rates, absenteeism rates, um, quality of products, and even customer response. So yes, we did the training. Maybe on interpersonal relationship, we had issues with the conflicts, the employees are fighting each other. In Kiswahili say wanakwaruzana kila wakati. So they are never at peace with one another. But after doing the training, you realize that the rate at which grievances are coming has gone down. You realize that customers are giving positive feedback. They say, yes, I was served in the shortest time ever, or the service was reduced. Yes, it has not met my standards, but at least I can say something has happened. They may not know what happened, but they know something has happened. But how it happened, they may not know. Or what led to the change, they may not know. But this would be training. If they were producing less and now the produce has increased, that's fine. So that is important for us as we look at training evaluation. And the others you find is the training evaluation process, which also has got the setting evaluation standard. So the process also involves there you come up with the evaluation standard. Then there is the pre-training test. You can do the testing before. Then it's the evaluation and then finally feedback. Based on the three areas that we mentioned. So if you remember the three areas we talked about the criteria for measuring the training effectiveness. Then there was a process, and then lastly is the methods. So in the criteria we have mentioned there, the output. We've mentioned the behavior, and we've also mentioned the planning criteria. That is very important. And the last one we mentioned is the reaction. While when you move to the process, now what the process involves is the setting evaluation standard. What is the standard you use to evaluate? When will you use observation? When will you use um, the learning behavior planning? When will you use reaction? When will you use behavior? When will you use output? Then now you do pre-training test. You can even do a test before that happens. When you will be doing your research project, there's a topic where you do what we call in chapter 3, you will do um, remember the name, validity and reliability test. That means you even do it before you go to the field. You do it so that you try to find out if what the questionnaire and the instruments you'll be using will give you the correct information that you'll be searching or looking for. Then after pre-training test is the measuring of the outputs of training. The output there is also very important. And finally, again, this one comes at one end with evaluation and feedback. And this is training evaluation.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Important. Sorry. I hope you can still follow me. Someone was saying you can't hear. You can confirm you can hear me now. Just a confirmation you can hear me. I know my video has disappeared. Someone has interrupted my video. All right, thank you. Someone was interrupting me, that's why. So I hope my video will come back, though the screen sharing may not come back. Okay. Thank you. So just to move you to the next one. Excuse me. Now these are the methods that we use, and in the methods here we have with us the observation method, as I was mentioning before the introduction. How would an individual carry out him or herself in the organization? And now, when you look at the observation, I will look at you, and most of us are very effective in the morning, but as time goes by, they get wearied down and they get tired, and they may not even be effective. So you check out what is the best timing. It may not be just in the morning. When you report, you have the energy, you have the motivation, even if you report at 5, but you find as time goes by, your energy diminishes. So an employer would look at, is it that the timing is too much, or what could be done to improve this person's performance? Because you say that evaluation is just for improvement. When I mark my students' exams, I want to mark not to please my student. So sometimes students are hard on you, they say you're harsh on them, they also become hard on you, in quotes. So for that to be avoided, I get into the act. I think some of us may have gotten those kind of feedback. So someone will not be happy at that instant, but later the person will be happy. There are those who will be happy at the moment, but later they'll complain. So I do not expect a point where, and that's the belief I know we have as lecturers, that I don't make you happy now, and then in future you come and regret. That would be so unfortunate. It's better we have challenges now, or we fight it out, fighting in quotes, and then later you will be very okay. So that's why this is critical. When I sit down with my student and ask, how comes you are not performing very well? Or how comes you are struggling in class? Then we sit and discuss. We can brush shoulders in a simple way, but after that, you will come to appreciate it. And that's very critical for me. So it's not possible that I cover up things, sweep them under the carpet, and then let someone as a challenge. That's why sometimes I meet my student later. They say, "Oh, Malim, oh, you were like this or that. I didn't like it, but I like it now." My classes where I have students over 100. I remember one class I had students over 150. The one that just ended before COVID, who ended abruptly. So most students, as usual, they always sit at the back. But when I go to class, you find the front space is left. So I move students, then there remains a very huge gap in the middle. And I tell all those who are at the back, four rows, I move them and let all of them occupy the rows, moving to the front. And then they leave the space behind so that the rest who come will get space. So that we minimize time wasted when others come in, they will interrupt. For those coming to sit in front, no. So those who come, let's sit at the back where they find there's a lot of space so that we minimize noise. They are not happy, but when the session ends, I ask some of them, how did you find? Oh, I learned a lot. I would have not planned this or learned this if I was sitting at the back. So sometimes, and I remember by the way, when I moved them from the back, they are very annoyed with me. They are not happy. It's like you messed up their mood. But because you sit in front, you find that you're more attentive. You don't get this interrupted as others could get interrupted at the back. Sometimes I know some like sitting at the back with good reasons. And at the end of the day, you'd find that when you do the evaluation, where you can sit down with the individual, then you'll find that it was the right thing to do. You can give a test. That's why we give tests. Like right now, we gave cat one, we give another cat. Cat one, maybe we didn't take it that we had a challenge with it. So later, we are going to give another one, another cat. We are going to give another one. So someone who didn't do very well, you have room to do better. Because we have done the evaluation and realized where challenges were, and now we can improve. When we gave you the sample exam, we got some feedback, and that is what helped us to improve. And now we're improving better or further. It is always very important that evaluation is done. Pre-test, just give a simple test. Sometimes I remember it was not this group. There's a class I gave a test. I was trying to check on the timing, and And after that, checking on the timing, only 3 students did. The others complained about, Molimo, I think there's assignment and we didn't know. How comes? But I explained to them it was just a test, so you should not be worried that I'll give another one. That's when later they were okay. But I was just testing the timing, and this is the only student I found online by that time I was doing the test. So I had got justifiable reason for running out the process itself. So it's critical that the evaluation is done, but then done the right way and for the benefit of others. Then there's the experimental control. This involves the practical aspect. You can do the practical part, the experiment, and it's a controlled one. The experiments are very important before we do our exams. We always do uh, um, titration and the rest. I remember someone did a titration where you are sucking the chemical but you could not allow it to get to your mouth. And unfortunately, one of us did it the wrong way and pulled it until it got into his mouth. It affected him badly, and that's why we learned how risky it is to misbehave with science. The experiment itself, when you're testing which kind of chemical you have, you are told how to smell it. You don't just throw your whole nose into it. You are told you could do, if it is flapping it, a bit of it so that you just get a wind of it, you get so that you can get the smell. And like you just put the whole nose on it, it can choke you, it can even kill you because some chemicals are very dangerous. So that is key. You can also do a survey. You can do a survey and check, have some set of questions for different aspects of training. Ask the person to fill. It could also be a questionnaire form. You can choose whichever method to use. And finally, you can go for whichever cost-effective method that would be helpful in the organization. So that is the entire part that we have in the evaluation. That's the entire part we have in the evaluation of training. Let me give 2 or 3 minutes for you to comment if there is something that was not clear or a question or comment. At some point I saw Lorraine typing. Lorraine, you've been lost for me. I don't know why, though last time I was given communication, so I don't have a problem. Only that you are lost until I don't remember where I took your number. You realize of late I've not been reaching you. I tried to trace my number, I'm having a problem with it. So don't worry, Lorraine, don't worry. And any other person. I'm on Lorraine because she's our class rep. Any comment or question? Can I start by calling names just to see if you learned something or you have a question or you want to add something? I've already posted the notes. I will not post the interaction session right away because I'm leaving as soon as we end this session. At 9, I'm moving to main campus for some work. So I may not post them right now. I can post them later, but ensure within the day you work on them. Any question or comment? Agnes, any comment? Lillian? Lorraine? Did I lose Catherine? I'm checking the attendance. So is it still there? Lorraine, is it still there? I hope it is. Yeah, all right. So, thank you. um, oh, Momboni says it is not there. Florin says it's there. I'm not sure which is which. Who else is hearing background noise from my side? Can tell Eric. Um, no noise. Okay, but there was. Okay, I will see how to sort out that. Okay. Um, any other comment or question? Any comment or question so that we wind up this session? I posted some work, so so there's no need for you to be worried. I've already posted some work for you. Just go to the topic 6, you find the journal, and the forum follows after that. It seems there's no one with a comment or question. I can give 1 minute if there's someone with a comment, as I also update your attendance. If there isn't, then we end it here in the next 1 minute. Oh, no one has a comment, so oh, Momboni is typing. Fine. Can finish so that we end it. Thank you so much. It's good also to see all of you here. It's good to see all of you. That's encouraging. Except Derek. I hope Derek will join us next session. I'm sorry, yesterday we didn't have a session. I was still winding up on your exams, though communication might have come late. But I'm now winding up. Because we've done much on this. Last week we were supposed to break, we didn't break, so I had to carry forward some work. But now I'm done with your exams. You rest assured that you can get them as soon as we release them. Okay, thank you so much. Catherine, thank you. Thank you, Agnes. Lillian, thank you. Taslim, Bonnie, Lorraine, Munira, thank you so much. Let's remember to go to the portal and do the task. As I mentioned, these tasks are evaluated. We are going to include them in our end of semester exam. So I'll be marking them. And then after that, I get all the marks together. Then we'll reduce. Remember, coursework will increase. Then sit-in marks will reduce. That's a by the way. So please, it's not official. I'm just giving that information to you. Take it very serious. Thank you so much, ladies. I wish you all the best. Uh, have a blessed day. You remember to check the attendance. If your name is not captured, you raise it with me. That's all. That is it. Thank you. Oh, that's what it's typing. Have a good day. Have a blessed day also. Thank you.